everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sundays with the Sprinkles. I am Brett Sprinkle, joined with me as always, Brandon Shanahan. Brandon, how are you?
Good, man. I'm just getting over a cold, and it's kind of gotten to that point where, like, once you get done being sick and you kind of feel invincible, like, I can do anything.
Yeah, I can beat anything, which is a far cry from probably like 2 days ago. You were thinking, I'm gonna die. This is it for me. Like I'm done.
I was telling Kat what to do with my belongings in the event of my demise. I was like, your brother can have my PlayStation. Here's whose
Respect.
graves you have to, routinely piss on. Now that I can't be here to do it anymore. Yeah, so I got her that all that information, and then now it's useless.
Well, I'm glad you led into that. I mean, we can just get right into it. Obviously, today is our episode for today is May 5th, 2024. Happy Sunday, happy Cinco de Mayo, happy May 4th. May the fourth be with you, of course, as always. You're talking about pissing on graves. I know you love pissing on Colorado's grave. You're hot in the
Oh,
streets on
dude.
Twitter. What's going on over there, buddy?
So I feel like I'm in a weird spot because I kind of like well so I started liking Coach Prime and what he was trying to do, and one of the things that I said emphatically was whatever happens here with Coach Prime, we're gonna know really quickly whether or not it works or not. Um, and whenever I would describe like what scenario it doesn't work out in, this is pretty much what that looks like because they brought in a good transfer class when he got there. But then he also brought in like a really good and really competent high school recruiting class, which that seems kind of like the long-term formula is that yeah, you get the transfers in here, you fill gaps, and you improve what was a horrible roster. I mean, that was the worst team in college football by a mile. And so you bring guys to play immediately. They did that, and then you bring in guys like Dylan Edwards, like oh boy, I'm trying to think, Cormani McLean, the five-star corner, and then like a really good class behind them to develop them. Because the one thing that I bought into with Coach Prime is he's constantly yapping about, oh, you send me a boy, I send you back a man. And I want to develop these young men. And, he always has that shtick ready to go whenever anybody brings up him going to the NFL with Shadur next year. And I bought into it. And I'm like, I get it. I can see why this would be advantageous to someone in his position who's already got money, who's already got status and legacy. I felt like the reason why he was in it on it. And then this spring, all those high school guys are gone now. Cormani McLean's in the transfer portal. Dylan Edwards is at Kansas State now. Every man's a Wildcat. Shout out Kansas State. Um, and then now, on top of that, we're Shadur Sanders getting after them on Twitter in such a crazy way, and now Coach Prime also yapping on Twitter. It's such a horrible look. It feels like a disaster. And I said this to my pal Drew Russell on our Go Big 12 or Go Home show. And I don't think either of these things are going to happen, but I think Colorado has a better chance of winning 0 games next year than winning 7.
I mean, you're probably right with all the turmoil.
I mean, it's just such a bad look. It's crazy that and that whole article with the Athletic, they talked to 50 guys who transferred out of there. And now some of them, especially the guys from last year's transfer portal cycle, the players on that team stunk. So
Hmm.
it's no surprise that you get the stinky players out of there. But guys that, Coach Prime recruited, Coach Prime sold this story on. This is what you can expect here in Colorado. And for it to so quickly fall apart and so quickly for those guys who you brought in to be like, this isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I was sold. This isn't a good place for me. It's very telling, and I'm so excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, and I didn't understand it because it's like a no-win situation for any of the Sanders, for anybody on Colorado currently that's chirping at the players who left, right? Because then you either sound bitter or you sound like a fucking dickhead. Like there's a reason why they left. Like there's no like it's an open window type situation to where you can kind of see what's going on inside the house. And it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound like a fun place to be, honestly.
Now, Roger Sherman put it in such a perfect way. He said, "Colorado's not beating the the poor culture allegations by constantly shitting on guys who are leaving the programs."
Yeah.
And it's exactly what it is. because you got to imagine if they're putting this stuff on Twitter in a public space to try to get flex and get clicks and whatnot, like that can't be a healthy environment behind the scenes.
No, and like even I can't remember his name, but that one kid specifically was mentioned who Shadur said it must have been mid. I don't even remember him. I can't remember who that recruit's name was, but he was sitting there saying, "It's like, yeah, no, I've tried to assimilate. I tried to, buy into what Coach Prime was saying, but at the end of the day, it just felt like nobody wanted me there anyway, even though I was doing, putting in all the effort. So I transferred out, and then he just gets fucking shit on by Shadur, and then all of his other Colorado players, teammates hop in, and then people start talking shit on Shadur, and then Deion Sanders hops in. It's just like, why'd you do any of this? You didn't have to do any of this. Like Shadur Sanders just could have kept his mouth shut. Like the dude's off your team. You don't need to say much about him. It's not like he went to fucking USC and won a Heisman. No, he's just going to play. He's going somewhere to play football. That's what he wants to do. It's like I just don't know why they took it so personally. Just as to go out and is it just maybe it is maybe the Oregon coach was right. Maybe it is all for clicks and likes.
Yeah, and that was another line in that article that stuck with me. He said he felt like the like a background character in a reality television show. And I mean, it checks out with everything they're doing, putting their social media handles on the jerseys. You got the Amazon crew in there. Shadur's got his own crew as well, filming it and whatnot. It's such a crazy thing. And also, I think what people are forgetting, they won 4 games last year. They blew a 20-point lead to Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't beat a single bowl eligible team. They lost 8 straight to wrap up the season. They were a bad football team last year, and they haven't gotten any better. And if you are in that camp and you think that they have gotten better and that the results speak for themselves and whatever, these guys that leave it are just soft and can't handle it, then you let that speak for itself. You don't go on Twitter and start yapping when you don't have to.
Yapping the Yap Olympics. That's all Colorado's playing for. The Yap Olympics.
Gold medals. I mean, it's going to be like the oh my gosh, like the U.S. medal count at the end of the Olympics, where it's like the United States has 145 gold medals and the next closest team has 40 total medals.
Yeah. No, you're right. And if there's one team that I believe would be the favorites, it would be a Deion Sanders led team. Because hey, for all intents and purposes, that dude could talk some shit. That's what I love about him. He could talk some shit.
Yeah, and I like I said, I bought into it at first. I'm like I can see
Mm-hmm.
the vision. I could see a world where it works out where he brings in good coaches around him to get the guys at the high level. Of course, he's kind of the face of it all. He's out recruiting. He's getting these guys through the transfer portal, and he's developing guys behind the scenes on the high school level. And I haven't seen any of that.
Well, and to your point, like, yeah, last year, like, it was tumultuous. He's coming in, bringing in all these new recruits. He's basically trying to, change the face of the program. So, I mean, it's obviously going to get a little messy there his first year, but year two, this is where you kind of want things to settle in, kind of start to relax and, get into that culture, that you're trying to build. But it sounds like the culture that they're building isn't something that anybody wants to be a part of, and everyone's just jumping ship almost immediately.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody looking at what's happened over the last couple of weeks and being like, you know what, that's the place where I want to be.
Yeah. Like, oh man, that is a beautiful campus, though. I would always like that was the one college. Like, if I would have moved to Colorado, I would have went to Boulder. It's such a beautiful
Yeah.
campus.
Well, yeah. I mean, there are so many great selling points about going and being a Golden Buffalo, especially with Coach Prime there. But they're leaning away from all of that
Yeah,
in such a spectacularly disastrous way.
yeah, it's rough. It's funny though. It's funny to see unfold. It's funny to watch from afar. I don't really have to worry about it because I mean, you're right. I did buy in at first too, but now it's just I'm waiting to see what happens. I still don't think they're necessarily dead in the water, but they need to have a serious talk with sit down and like have a face to face with themselves and be like, hey, is this really the foot forward we want to present to the world? Like, I just doesn't make any sense to even want to do that.
Yeah, and we were going through the schedule, and like every single week now, that team is going to be juiced up to just blow the doors off them. I mean, we saw it with Oregon last year.
Hmm.
They had no business giving a hoot and a holler about Colorado, and yet they went and hung 50 on them to try to embarrass them. You're going to get that from every single school that you get, even schools in the Big 12 now, like Baylor and Cincinnati, who, they probably match up with pretty well on a skill level. I mean, that's going to be their Super Bowl. Like North Dakota State coming into Boulder week one, that's going to be the most watched North Dakota State football game of all time. You don't think they're going to
Yeah.
come in ready to go? And then, of course, Nebraska with the rivalry. and this and that. Colorado State after that game last year, you think that they're not going to be 100% dialed in? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
forget about it. And that's going to be the timeline the entire season.
If Colorado doesn't beat TCU week one, how are we feeling about Colorado right now? Because like
Definitely
that's the
not.
only thing that like kept me going through the season, right? Because yeah, you knew they were gonna have a tough conference schedule. You knew that they weren't gonna be like the best team in the world coming off of what they just went through. But I mean, if they don't beat TCU, they're a 3-1 team, obviously, and everyone's jumping ship. I don't know that TCU win is just holding up a lot of fucking weight there in Boulder.
And it's holding up way more weight than it should. Because also TCU didn't go to a bowl game last year. They were
No, I
bad.
know, I
They were bad
know.
last year.
Like if
And
they play each other in the middle of the season, nobody cares about that game. It's just TCU happened to be ranked pretty high coming off of a
yeah,
national championship bid.
yeah, that's crazy. I will admit, like that Colorado team was still significantly better than the year before, but that
Mm-hmm.
just indicates just how bad that team was, and all
Yeah.
the external factors that went into that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. If they don't even have that win over a 5-win TCU team, 3-8 looks so much worse than 4. No,
Mm-hmm.
3-9
Especially with
looks so
all
much worse.
this.
Yeah,
And like you can't you forget that they only won 4 games last year. So the fact they're even on Twitter chirping people just is bizarre to me.
and and 3 non-conference wins as well. So yeah, you do get the win against TCU, and then yeah, the win against Nebraska and Colorado State. But then you win one conference game the entire stretch. You
Mm-hmm.
blow a 20-point lead to Stanford. Also didn't
Mm-mm.
go to a bowl game. You get oh my gosh, you get embarrassed by Oregon. What would a get blown out by Utah? Glorious. Who has a pig farmer as a quarterback, mind you. Utah Utes. That team got bullied by Northwestern in a bowl game. And they still hung 35 points on Colorado.
That's crazy.
It's going to
Yeah,
be a good year to be a hater. I'll tell you what.
I mean, when is it not?
I
Um, moving away from Colorado because we could probably talk about them for the next 3 hours. I did want to talk about another team in the state of Colorado where we're about a week away from the draft, a week away from all of the analysis, the draft grades, the who won this pick, who won that pick, who lost their entire franchise for the next 10 years because of a certain draft pick. How are we feeling about Bo Nix?
boy, people do not like the Broncos draft. That's been my big takeaway over the last year is whenever you look at any draft grades or draft rankings, the Broncos get shit on,
Yeah,
which
but you know
is
what? I agree with you, but you know what? I kind of like it. I kind of like it.
yeah. I'm right there with you because I feel like we've won a couple of drafts the last couple of years, and they
Yeah.
haven't turned out to be anything. But yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think you're right.
No.
The more I hear about Bo Nix, the higher I think his floor is, which
Mm-hmm.
feels like a good place to be. And even so some of the guys that got in, you know what I will say that's driving me crazy is people who are bashing the Broncos drafting Bo Nix because they drafted him at 12.
Yeah.
Like,
I,
yeah, talent wise, is he probably closer to a second round pick? I don't know. I guess that doesn't matter. The
Once
team,
Michael Penix comes off the board, like Bo Nix is the next quarterback. So if somebody drafts a quarterback between picks fucking 11 and goddamn 32, the Broncos are shit out of luck. So why wouldn't you just go and get him? And with your pick, you didn't have to trade any draft capital for. You just were happy. You happened to be there.
just happened to be there. And by the way, the team drafting behind you has Aiden O'Connell as their quarterback. You don't think that they're
Yes.
desperate and frothing at the mouth to get a new quarterback? So that doesn't matter. The draft grade doesn't matter. It's I mean, boy, it's like buying a house in a buyer's market, and you're like, man, that house isn't worth the 20 extra $1,000 you had to pay for it. Yeah, it was, because if you didn't pay that extra $20,000, you wouldn't have gotten the house.
Yeah, you still
And
be living in an apartment with your
yeah,
neighbor pissing on your fucking doormat. Like it's
oh boy.
yeah, no, I don't understand it. I mean, I do, and the reason why I do love people shitting on it is because people are fucking stupid, and the knee jerk reactions are usually always wrong. So my knee jerk reaction to never wanting Bo Nix was wrong because the Broncos drafted him. So I mean, there you go right there. I'm not infallible. I'm kind of excited. I do agree with you. His floor being a little bit higher, but I'm always whenever you take a quarterback like that, I'm always worried about his ceiling, and I'm just worried that his ceiling isn't going to be as high as I want it to be because I just have all these aspirations
Yeah.
of him being really good, and I just want him to be good.
Yeah, I'm worried about drafting a Daniel Jones.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, or even I mean, Kirk Cousins has been a serviceable quarterback. Don't get me wrong; he's been great his entire career. He's been good his entire career. I don't know if I want that on my team. Like you know what I mean? I want to,
Yeah,
and this is it's. There's only one Patrick Mahomes, there's only one Josh Allen. I want one of those guys. I mean, that's selfish of me to say, I know, but that's what I want. That's what I envision for my franchise. But I don't know if I'm ready to just have Dak Prescott as my quarterback for the next 10 years.
and that's so tough because it's Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins would be a serviceable upgrade from what we've had over the
Mm-hmm.
last decade. Why do
Yeah.
we feel like this? Why why can't we be happy?
Who
Like Dak
knows?
Prescott was the favorite to win the MVP for like half the season last year, and dude, I don't want a quarterback like that on my roster.
Yeah.
Gosh damn it, dude! Why is football like this?
It's so annoying. Well, nobody knows anything, and that's actually the one takeaway that I have is, especially when it comes to scouting quarterbacks, nobody knows anything. And the
Nobody
more
knows
Sean
anything.
Payton says that Patrick Mahomes was our next pick in 2018, the more I believe him. So let's go.
Yeah, I mean, kind of have to. That's good for the agenda that he sought out Patrick Mahomes, that he sought out Bo Nix. He was QB3 on their board. I don't know if we went over that. It was Caleb
He was
Williams,
QB
and then it
three on
was
our board.
Jaden Daniels, and then yeah, Bo Nix was right there over Michael Penis over Drake May.
Yeah, which is kind of wild, but I love it. I love it. I love the narratives that are coming out. I love the storylines. Um, do you
Yeah, and
ever go ahead?
and I'm kind of juiced for it because I mean, one of two things is going to happen. One, he's going to be pretty good, and we're going to be fine, or we draft a quarterback next year with the top 5 draft pick.
That's true because like it's yeah, pretty much going to be right there. I mean, yeah, those are the
And
two
then the status
scenarios. We were going
quo
to have a top
for
five draft pick anyway. I mean, who was our Jared Stidham? Like
yeah.
Zach Wilson? Like I don't
I,
know.
I'm so okay with just throwing as many darts at the dartboard.
Yeah,
Draft a
one of them's
quarterback
got to
every year
stick.
if you have to.
Yeah. Do you
Because
have a desire
another
to see
thing
the
that
Broncos on? Oh, go ahead.
another thing that I was kind of digging into is you really know early on if you have a guy or not. And
Mm-hmm.
like he doesn't have to like go out and throw for 40 touchdowns, but like if he has like a 14 touchdown, 12 interception season, that's not it. And then yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just keep phew, phew, phew.
But I also hate that line of thinking too. Is like right away if you have a guy. I don't know, man. I've never started anything and just immediately was the best at it. Like no matter what job it was, no matter what endeavor. Like I know he's been playing all his life, but I've also been reading, writing, and talking all my life. There's still a learning curve. There's still things I have to move past in order to get as good. It's all about learning from your mistakes. All about being consistent. And I mean, we talk about all the time. Consistency is key with everything. You don't have to be the best at everything all the time ever, but as long as you're just consistently there and you put in good work and you learn from your mistakes, like that's the key to success. So I'm just hoping that he does that. To be honest.
Yeah.
But the question I've been trying to ask you is: do you have a desire to see the Broncos on Hard Knocks ever? I'm
No,
torn. Sometimes I do, and then other times I don't. Because you look at
I
every single team that's on Hard Knocks, there's always a lot of hype going into the season, and that team just falls flat on their face. And as much as
it's
entertaining as I think it
nice.
would be with the Broncos, they've never been on it, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it would be cool because that's the only way that we'll get any type of intel into training camp with
Mm-hmm.
how close of an operation Sean Payton runs. So I guess that's the benefit. But yeah, I don't. Gosh, there's been so much time over the last decades where the whole league has been pointing and laughing at my favorite football team. I'm I'm kind of not ready to sign up for being the subject of Hard Knocks. I guess it would be pretty cool to get that kind of in depth look, but I would be happier if it was not the Broncos.
And plus, yeah, let Bo Nix learn the system. They could be on it next year.
Well, they're going to make the playoffs this year, so they can't be on it next
Ah,
year.
shit, you're right. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Yeah, it's tough to get on Hard Knocks when you win a Super Bowl. I always forget that part. Yeah, that's my bad. Um, yeah, well, shit. I mean, I do love the Broncos. The rest of the draft the Broncos had. I think the Eagles had a pretty good draft. I know the Bears had a great draft. Trading up to get the punter from Iowa. Whew, that was a heat check move right there.
I didn't even realize the Bears did that. That's kind of tough.
Yeah, they traded back. I think it was a fourth round or third round just to get the punter.
That's pretty crazy. But admittedly, there's always that oh boy, what is it? That what if scenario? Would you rather going around where like, would you rather, have the best quarterback in the world or the best punter in the world? And there's some argument for the best punter in the world. And if you can pin him back every single time,
Yeah, dude. If you could spin it
that's
like
value.
that's yeah, no shit. No
Do
shanks, just
you?
49 perfect every single time in the corner. Yeah.
There's always a worry, especially with Alabama players, defensive backs, running backs, that by the time they get to the NFL, they're so worn down from the grind of being an Alabama all American and working for Saban, and he'll really maximize. Do you think that there's any possibility that Troy Taylor, you only get so many good reps that he used up so many reps as the punter of Iowa?
Um, there exists that possibility. I will say that, but no,
I don't
no.
think so.
There's
Either.
he
I
didn't
think
use
it'd
up
be
too
very
many good
funny.
reps. If anything, he was just getting ready for the reps he's about to take in Chicago. Because we know anything about Chicago, like that, they're gonna punt. I don't care what Caleb Williams texted anybody, they're gonna punt a lot.
Also, real quick, I mean, I don't want to go back to our initial conversation, but it's crazy how many people were clowning Caleb Williams for wearing a smock and painting his nails, and Shooter Sanders is yelling at recruits on the internet. Um, but I'm really liking what Chicago's turning into. I'm really excited, especially somebody who doesn't really have a dog in the NFC North fight. Like,
Yeah,
give me the Bears.
yeah. Yeah, Chicago's a fun city. I've always wanted to go there. I've actually never been. I've always
You
wanted to
never
live
been to
there.
Chicago?
No, I know. I always went to Denver. It was like 8 hours, from Council Bluffs. Council Bluffs.
Hey,
It was either 8 hours to Denver, 8 hours to Chicago. We always just went to Denver.
yeah, it's probably the right call.
Yeah, no shit. Are you in touch with the beef that's going on with between Kendrick and Drake,
Dude, I'll oh my god. So I
brother?
so like I told you, I've been sick all week. So
Yeah, you've had
I've been
nothing but
hankering. No,
time.
I've been hankering to just do nothing but sleep. And last night I had to work a ball game, and I get home and I'm dead. I'm so tired. And then I see the 7-minute YouTube video from Drake, and I'm like, I'm here. Little did I know it would consume the next 3 hours of my night. I got no sleep. I still feel
Hmm.
like garbage, and I stand by it. It was it's incredible. I'm
He
having so much
said,
fun.
"Dear Adonis, I'm sorry that man is your father. I'm sorry for the way his mother raised him." I
Oh
was
my
like, Jesus
god.
Christ,
To
dude.
call out the whole family by name
I know. I'm
is
by names,
insane.
using their government names, not even using like fucking prefixes or anything. Dude, bizarre. Poor
I'm
fucking
having
Drake.
so
But
much
the
fun.
memes today, like I had to work at my restaurant today, and just the memes that I was seeing, just scrolling through Twitter, were just fucking immaculate. Like today was like
It's
one of the top 5 days all time on X, like for sure.
it's a great Twitter day. But I did see a theory that Drake baited that information to Kendrick.
I did too, but honestly, I don't care. If I'm being
I
completely honest, I don't care. I think
the only thing that well yeah
all he said was,
it's
I don't have a daughter." That's lying, but he literally called him a pedophile. He called him. He called him so many things.
that part was pretty funny. He gets called a predator 18 different times in the most poetic manner possible, and he's like, nah, I don't have a daughter.
Yeah, there's no
All that
daughter,
other
bro.
stuff, don't miss me with that shit. But it kind of go well. The when he was calling him a predator, he didn't really come with anything specific. Like everything else was very
Hmm.
specific, very tied into these incidents, very tied in. So he didn't have anything specific there, tied in with the fact that he might have been fed false information. That makes it very interesting to me because otherwise it's a very one-sided bout, and I kind of want it to keep going.
Yeah, I don't know how Drake makes another one.
The only thing that he has is if he did bait that information, and then to like make a track detailing that
Oh, how he
information's
like
fake.
set him up.
Yeah, then
That's a good
maybe,
point.
but that's it. But yeah, we've definitely gotten to the peak, and it's been such a fun time.
Yeah, I don't know if you know Mark Phillips on Twitter or Instagram. They always make those like super funny like post game reaction videos. It's like LeBron James in the locker room
Oh
after
yeah,
this finals loss. He's sitting there screaming at everybody, "Jr. Jr. Shoot the damn ball!" Well, they did one after this Drake thing. Here, I'll just send it to you on Twitter now so you can watch it. But it was so fucking funny. It's just Kendrick sitting in a dark room, saying he's essentially playing the character Kendrick. He's like, yeah, I know, I predicted that shit. I just hit upload on a new one, and it's Drake. Like they're finishing celebrating, their whole thing, and then they get an email, they get a tech, they get the notification as they're walking out, and then after the end of the song, Drake's just sitting there looking at the rest of OVO, and nobody can look at him. Somebody shows a gun. He's like, "Hey, bro, put that away, Cooley." He's like, "I don't know how else you're gonna do this, bro." So fucking funny. But yeah, the jokes have been all time. J. Cole, smartest man of the year, sitting
I
this one
mean,
out.
boy, what a turn of
What a
events
move!
for Jermaine. Because I mean, that's not an easy thing to do, is to walk back a track like that. But
And he
that,
did it quick too. He did it with no shame. He's like, "Hey, that was the dumbest shit ever." He just said that and then
like, he
deleted it
got
the
like
very next day.
one message from somebody like, hey, you might want to control Z.
Kendrick was like, "Hey, I know I hate this man. You don't want to get involved." It's like, "Hey, I don't want to get involved. You're right. Let's
You're
not
right.
say
You're
less."
right.
I just said that to you. It's so fucking funny though.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm having so much fun. It's what a treat.
Um, Hockey. There's hockey tonight. Bruins going to Game 7 after being up 3-1 on the Maple Leafs. That's a big game going on this evening, Saturday night. I
Do
think the Bruins will
you?
win.
How do you feel about Canadian hockey teams?
I don't care about them.
I think it's very funny every year that they go
They don't
without
win
winning
a
a
Stanley
Stanley Cup.
Cup. Yeah, agreed. No, I'm with you. Okay, so we're in agreement there. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
funny to me because I guess it's supposed to be their sport and they can't do shit.
especially Toronto, because how
Mm-hmm.
much they fucking love it. Then a
Mm-hmm.
team from Tampa Bay goes to three straight Stanley Cups, and then nobody
Carolina,
gives a
like,
shit. Yeah, dude. I love that shit. I
yeah,
love it.
it's good. Did you see that AI picture that Ryan Whitney posted on Twitter?
Yeah,
The Bears fucking.
yeah,
What an all-time picture! I couldn't believe it when I saw it, and then the reading the people getting mad at it just made it 3,000 times worse. And I just laughed so hard every single time.
yeah. Because they're cartoon bears.
They are cartoon bears, and they're not in a real arena because each team has a banner up.
Yeah, like it's so fake that
The polar bear's wearing a tutu, I think it was. So it's like, I mean, polar bears don't wear tutus. I think, I
yeah.
don't know, not normally. Uh yeah. Um, Nuggets Wolves game 1 tonight as well. That's going to be a good
Yeah.
series. I'm nervous about that
Oh yeah.
series.
Yeah, I think it'll. Yeah, I think the winner of this rolls through whoever comes out of OKC and Dallas. And then Boston's a whole different beast. But yeah, this is what I was worried about.
Yeah, I mean they play just such good defense, and that's what I really like about the Wolves is like defense. We saw it last year when the Nuggets turned it on because that was their biggest knock on them going into the last season's playoffs. Oh yeah, they don't play defense; they're not efficient on defense. Jokic doesn't play defense. When the playoffs started, they played some of the best defense in the
Yeah.
NBA all fucking season, and that's kind of what the Wolves are doing right now. So they have the recipe, but it's going to come down to Ant, and I love Ant. I do believe that he's going to be like, if not the best player in the world soon, at least top two very very soon. But if they want to win the series, if the Nuggets or if the Timberwolves want to win the series, he has to be the best player in the world today. Like he has to be that guy now. You know what I mean? He can't wait anymore. And it's not
And I'll,
easy. It's not going to be an
yeah.
easy thing to do. It just is what it is.
And I'll tell you what. So last year on the Nuggets run, they beat up on Kevin Durant. They beat up on Devin Booker. They beat up on LeBron James. They beat up on Anthony Davis. They beat up on Jimmy Butler. They beat up on Cats and Rudy Gobert and all that. The one person the entire playoff series that I was worried would just take over a game and win one is Ants. He's so
Mm-hmm.
good, and I mean
And he's a dog.
this feels like his coming out party, unfortunately, where everybody else kind of catches up. I mean, hopefully the Nuggets get one more on him, but I this feels like the part in the 30 for 30 documentary where it's get him in five last year and Ants, gets in the lab, gets another level and
Mm-hmm.
topples the Kings.
Well, the good news is they still have Cat and they still have Rudy Gobert, and I don't trust either one of those guys
That is very
in
true.
big moments. So that's going to be that they're like two of their best players are going to be their Achilles heel essentially. So it'll be a good series. I think it goes 7. I mean, I don't think the Nuggets have gone past 6 games since fucking 2022, right? Like
Yeah, they got the Wolves last year in 5. The Suns took them to 6, kind of,
that's right. Yeah.
but the Nuggets absolutely ran them out of their own gym in Game 6. So their starters were out of the game by half, so like
Yeah.
5.5 really.
Yeah. Beat the fuck out of the Lakers, beat the fuck out of the Heat. That was just a dominant postseason run last year.
Well, and that's the thing is that I hear people chirp that how fraudulent it was because they beat us an 8 seed, then a 4 seed, then a 7 seed, then a 7 seed. And I'm like, okay, well they still went 16-4,
Yeah.
right? Like if there's supposed to be a
That's all you
gap
got to do is
between,
win 16 games.
yeah, and it's like they weren't, they didn't sweat at all. So it's
Mm-mm.
like if there is supposed to be a gap between the 1 seed and the 7 seed, the gap was there.
Mm-hmm.
Like they
Yeah.
were so good, they didn't get pushed by anybody. And then yeah, these are also teams still with Jimmy Butler and LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and the whole roster that I just listed off. Beat a lot of really good players.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know you'll appreciate this as a self-proclaimed hater yourself. That's just what people do. It's like, case in
It's
point,
always
I
fun.
saw the Mets hit a walk-off against the Cardinals the other day. It was a rookie first baseman that hit the walk-off home run at the bottom of the 11th. He's sitting there celebrating. The entire Mets team comes out. It's a walk-off home run. Everyone's coming out and
That's it.
celebrating. I saw a Cardinals fan hop online and say, "Oh, guess this was their World Series." So yeah, because no team in the history of the fucking Major League Baseball has celebrated a walk-off win in such a fashion. Oh wait, the Cardinals did it just 2 days before. You fucking
Yeah,
cucks.
you fucking
Pissed me off.
that shit pisses me off.
Yeah.
And yeah, nobody gets into the weeds like basketball Twitter. I'll tell you what, they
Oh
will
yeah,
bend
dude.
over backwards to push their agenda, and I kind of respect it. Kind of respect it.
For
That
real
and college
though.
football Twitter, those are two very different beasts.
I'm not deep enough into college football Twitter, thankfully, honestly, because that's a new level that I'm just not ready for. That's message board. That's deep rooted in your family history and your family tree. NBA Twitter is just fun because nobody means anything they're saying. Like if they say they one thing, they have no problem saying the exact opposite the next day and pretending like that never happened.
Yeah.
That's what I love about NBA Twitter.
Oh, it's glorious.
Yeah, so some big games. Also, Kentucky Derby today. I don't subscribe to horse racing, but it's going to
There's
get
a
muddy.
there's a chance that the race has already gone on, and I would have no recollection of it.
I think it starts at 6. I only know that because I turned it on at the bar before I left. So
Yeah,
6 p.m.
it
Eastern.
means nothing to me.
Yeah.
I'll
Is
tell
there
you what
anything
though,
else you go ahead?
going to horse racing live is pretty sick.
I can imagine. Like I would love to go just bet $100,000 and sit in a suit, lose it all, and drink some mint juleps. Like that sounds like a beautiful afternoon.
Well, that was always my first date move that I never got to, which I feel like would have been a sick one because they had a nice racetrack up in central Iowa, and I'm like, well, you bring $20, put two on a horse here, two on a horse to show here, get some brewskis, maybe get a funny outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
You have to have the newspaper and the binoculars. Like
That's it.
that's part of the equipment. You got to have
That's
those
it.
on deck.
And then it's always a self-esteem boost to see people who take it way too serious. And like to see a dude lose his mortgage is very humbling.
Yeah, no kidding. I just like the dudes that go up and like touch the balls of the horse. He was like, "Oh yeah, no, he's light today. Good,
Yeah.
need that."
Don't worry, you can put your child's college tuition into this horse named Polka Dots.
My mother Irene around turn 3. Uh, um, I didn't plan on a long episode today. That's pretty much all the. I just emptied the clip. Um, Shout out Kendrick Lamar. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, man, it's a great time. Great
Yeah.
time.
What
Nuggets
are you? Are you still?
still in win.
What season are you guys in for play by play? What season? Are you still in just baseball season?
Yeah, still in just baseball season. We're in the playoffs now, so we're wrapping
Okay.
that up here in the next couple of weeks.
I saw George Mason women's lacrosse did end up in the A10 tournament. They did get bounced in the first round, but hey, historic season. I think this 2024 class in 2021 the program had 1 win. In 22 they had 3 wins. In 23 they had 2 wins. So to go 10-7 this year, get their first bid in the A10 tournament since 2015. Not a bad look, or 2019, excuse me. Not a bad look. Good. I mean, a lot of success from the graduates and seniors. Great season moving forward. Nothing to feel bad about. George Mason
I
baseball
agree.
team fucking blows it, dude. They blow every single. I think they have trying to think of the stat. I think they've gone into the ninth inning with a lead against a conference opponent 9 times so far this season, and they're 1-8.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
9
funny.
fucking times. It's ridiculous, dude. It's so annoying. Yeah, so they'll probably miss the tournament, which is super unfortunate and super annoying, but whatever. Stop it. I'm almost done. Jesus Christ, cat. This fucking cat. All right, buddy. Well, thanks for hopping on. I honestly planned on doing this by myself. I didn't realize you were around, so I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Tyler will be back eventually. Oh yeah, a quick note: if you are listening, if you have been listening weekly, we are not doing an episode next week. I am graduating from college on Thursday, and I'll have a bunch of family in town all weekend doing the graduation party on Saturday. So won't be around. We'll be back the following week, which I think that is, what is that? The 19th, I think it is. May 19th. So be on the lookout for that. As always, like and subscribe. Go check out Brandon's other podcasts at Cornhusker Connection on YouTube, at Shanaman on Twitter. Yeah, thanks guys for listening. Thanks for stopping in this shortened episode. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you later.